Good morning, everyone. Please read the IPC report, cover to cover. Read it in sorrow and in anger. Not as words and numbers, but as names and lives. Be in no doubt that this is irrefutable testimony. It is a famine, the Gaza famine. It is a famine that we could have prevented if we had been allowed. Yet food stacks up at borders because of systematic obstruction by Israel. It is a famine within a few hundred meters of food in a fertile land. It is a famine that hits the most vulnerable first, each with a name, each with a story, that strips people of dignity before it strips them of life, that forces a parent to choose which child to feed, that forces people to risk their lives to seek food. It is a famine that we repeatedly warned of, but that the international media has not been allowed in to cover, to bear witness. It is a famine in 2025, a 21st century famine, watched over by drones and the most advanced military technology in history. It is a famine openly promoted by some Israeli leaders as a weapon of war. It is a famine on all of our watch. Everyone owns this. The Gaza famine is the world's famine. It is a famine that asks, but what did you do? A famine that will and must haunt us all. It is a predictable and a preventable famine. A famine caused by cruelty, justified by revenge, enabled by indifference, and sustained by complicity. It is a famine that must spur the world to more urgent action, that must shame the world to do better. It is a famine that therefore also asks, and what now will you do? My ask, my plea, my demand to Prime Minister Netanyahu and anyone who can reach him: enough. Ceasefire. Open the crossings, north and south, all of them. Let us get food and other supplies in, unimpeded, and at the massive scale required. End the retribution. It is too late for far too many, but not for everyone in Gaza. Enough. For humanity's sake, let us in. Thank you.
Thank you very much, U.S. Chief Fletcher, for this remarks. I'll open the floor to questions. Very few questions here in the room, please. We've got very few minutes. So let me start with Robin, is our correspondent of AFP English language.
Thank you. Is this a moment of shame for the world? And do you think that Gazans are living under collective punishment of starvation?
Thank you, Robin. And you're right. This is a moment of collective shame. And I think we all feel that in different ways. We all have to look back as the international community and think, where could we have got this in a different place? And we've watched it happen in real time. We've not watched it as closely as we could have done if you'd all been allowed in to cover it, as with the other big moments of famine that many of us can remember through our lifetimes. And it is, as I say, a famine that could have been prevented, but there has been that systematic obstruction preventing us from getting those trucks moving at the scale that they need to. preventing us from breaking that blockade that has existed for so much of recent months. Now, I don't know what people in Gaza will be saying this morning. I doubt they'll be reading this report. They don't need to read the report. They know this. And they've known it for weeks and months. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see many hands. Imogen Fox, BBC.
Swiss transport let me down. Israel consistently denies that there's famine. Not just the Israeli government, but if you even see, people asked on the streets, they deny. What would you say, maybe to ordinary Israelis?
I think it's important, and many of those that I've been in touch with in recent weeks inside Israel, including survivors of the October 7th massacre in Nir Oz, Kibbutz, and elsewhere, they want this food to get in. And I think it's important to recognize that there is a growing constituency in Israel that shares our demand that we must get this food moving in and we must avoid this starvation, that we must end this famine. I hope that their voices are heard. I would say to them, as I say to all of you, please read this report. Don't just listen to me. Read the report cover to cover. Read it again and be moved to action.
Thank you very much. Annegret Matari, Neue Zürcher Zeitung.
Yeah. The 6th of August, there was a meeting in New York of UN humanitarian organizations with the Gaza Humanitarian Fund on collaboration. Could you please elaborate what this collaboration could be? Thank you.
So I think you're referring, there was a meeting on the 6th of August, a briefing meeting held by the American Embassy, which included a representative of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is running these militarized hubs inside Gaza. We know how to distribute aid at the scale needed to end this famine. Our system of distribution has been systematically dismantled and replaced. We have the food to deliver at scale. We have the networks to deliver at scale. We know how to do this. And we need to be allowed to do our work. What others do is for them. We need to be allowed to work.
I see Nick Cumming-Bruce in the New York Times.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for your briefing. Israeli policy is underpinned by the United States and by its continuing support for GHF. Have you seen or had any contact with the administration that shows any sign of shifting their position on this?
We are in very regular contact with American colleagues. It's notable that President Trump has clearly given an instruction that we must end this starvation. And I take that seriously. And I know that American colleagues take that seriously too. My ask of them is, of course, to let us operate at scale, to use the networks, the resources that we have, the experience that we have. We do this all over the world. And we've done it in Gaza, of course. When I was there earlier this year in the first quarter, during the ceasefire, we were getting in 600, 700 trucks every day. We can do that again. We're ready to go. And we're trying to help our American colleagues understand that that is essential to ending this starvation and finding ways to use their influence and their engagement to that effect.
Sorry, the very, very last question. Paula Dupras, Geneva Solutions. Geneva Report.
Yeah, good morning. Could you comment on how the NGO restrictions that Israel is imposing or is threatening to impose is impacting the partners that you work with on the ground and the security implications of that?
Thank you for raising this, because this isn't just about UN access. We also need commercial access to end this famine, commercial access at scale, and we need access for our essential humanitarian partners across the humanitarian movement. I think the best reference point, actually, is the letter that over 100 NGOs wrote last week, which sets out the way in which they are being impeded. Very specifically, the obstacles that they need to be removed in order to deliver. And so when we call for unimpeded access through all the crossings, we are calling for that for our entire humanitarian movement. We need them back on the ground, delivering at scale and in a principled humanitarian way.
Thank you very, very much, USG Fletcher, for being with us